Sorry about that, gentlemen. We had to add the real footage.
We're all live.
Hey, folks, listen. Give us a sec. We're having a little bit of technical difficulties here. There we go, ladies and gentlemen. Good afternoon. Thank you so much for the hiccup that we had. I was understanding that we had a bit of a hiccup. That was me. I was here half an hour. I'm looking on Twitter. I'm seeing something that came out with ACG regarding Redfall. I say just take it easy, folks. We have to play the game ourselves before we throw it under the bus. The review is the review, and everyone's going to not like it. Some people are going to love it. Unfortunately, it's coming in pretty hot because of the 30 frames per second situation. I'm going to play it. I actually flew out to New Zealand, which is why I was running late, and I flew back, and unfortunately, they removed the trick. I could not play Redfall and have some footage, but we are doing, folks, a Redfall release special podcast tomorrow for the Xbox Factor podcast at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, which I think is I think it's going to be pretty cool. I'm going to stay up tonight. I'm going to record at least 2 hours of footage. Like I said, folks, I was disappointed with the 60 frames per second for a first-person shooter not being available at launch, but I'm still going to play it. And if it turns out that I have to wait, well, I'm playing Jedi Fallen Order, which is another bit of a mess. I'm enjoying it. I don't know, 5 or 6 hours in. I'm on the second planet. And I just lost half an hour of play because I got stuck in a wall. So, yeah, man, that kind of sucks. I've been having all kinds of technical issues, especially when it came to climbing and to jumping. Some of the footage I recorded has me dying like five or six, 7 times. I don't know. But look, at the end of the day, we're here to talk about gaming. And listen, first of all, Web Dave, you've been here, there, and everywhere. How are you doing?
I'm doing great, Boom. I've had a good weekend, that's for sure. It's been a great one.
Nice. I saw that you popped on to, where the heck did I see you? Besides you had an amazing show on Sunday, you were a guest.
Game On Daily.
There you go. That's right. That's why I popped into the
and
chat.
And Colt Eastwood was all on there too. So yeah, it was.
Yes. It was
3.5 hour show. It was fun.
Yeah, absolutely. Good stuff as always, Dave. And obviously, you've dropped a pretty incredible video interview today. So we're really excited about that. So real quick, tell the people, who did you interview?
Pixelbit G.
Nice.
That is the one that is dropped today, and it is a good. He's a good guy, and
he's a good dude, indeed. Yes,
and he knows his stuff. He's a good gamer, and he's good to talk to about games with. So yeah, it's a good interview. I definitely think everybody ought to tune in to check that one out. It's up now, live and free, which is always good. And then we had a great show this past weekend. Oh my gosh, that was fantastic. And I have an interview this afternoon that'll drop next week.
Nice.
And then I'll make my complete the collection, the set of the Iron Lords. I have an interview with Lord Addict. So that'll drop, and that'll drop next Monday. Yep, excited for that.
We're definitely looking forward to that. And listen, Fuzzy Belvedere, what's going on, brother? How you feeling? Did you do any gaming this weekend?
Oh yeah, definitely. Feeling great. Glad to be here with you guys. Also picked up Star Wars Survivor, or Jedi Survivor. Also played a bit of The Last Call, or The Last Case of Benedict Fox. And I have to say, that's one of those gems that, unfortunately, due to bad timing, is probably going to get buried or missed. But the great thing is, while it's in Game Pass, after you finish Survivor, or if you put it down like I'm going to put it down because of bugs, you can always hop back into it. So it's definitely one worth playing if you're into Metroidvania type games. But a little bit of that, seeing stuff on Twitter, just, man, we're going to have an awesome show today. Can't wait to get into it.
Yeah, we have a lot to get into. Like I said, folks, the Redfall release party special is going to be live tomorrow, 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. We're going to spend a good chunk of the show. I'm staying up late to record footage, and I'm going to give you my raw opinion. Hopefully, it's going to be a fun game. Like I said, I wouldn't let the ACG situation discourage you. Honestly, it's look, he put out the review. I think he put it out by accident. He broke embargo, and listen. He doesn't do stuff like that on purpose. Obviously, ACG is legit. So it's been taken down. It's gonna be put back up. So we will see what ultimately the deal is going to be with the game. Again, hopefully it is going to be one of those games that some people are going to like, some people are going to not like. I mean, that's really arcane games. Like, for instance, I didn't really like Deathloop. I played it on 2 different consoles. I played about maybe 3 hours for the PlayStation 5, maybe about 4 hours for the Xbox Series X version, and I mean, I didn't it wouldn't have been my game of the year. I just didn't get it. I hope that because Redfall has a lot of similarities to what we've heard in like Far Cry, for instance, like going to an area and taking down a boss in that area. If in fact that is the case, I am gonna really, really, really enjoy that because I love Far Cry. And like I said, I'm probably gonna play the game single player, and maybe I'll jump on, like on a game night, maybe with Retri and a bunch of people to try and try my hand at multiplayer. But I'm probably more than likely gonna play through it single player because that's how I enjoy gaming. Obviously, for the podcast, you guys are going to see that we have some Jedi Fallen Order for you. Like I said, the game is great. I'm having a lot of fun with it. It is a little rough, though. I have to admit, and I'm a little taken aback, folks, on how well it's scored, being a bit unpolished. But you know what, Fuzzy, I'm going to hand you the microphone. I'm
Mhm.
going to step off for a hot second because my PC needs to be reset. Of course, it's doing an effing update in the just in time for the show. So I'm going to drop out. Let's talk about Jedi Fallen Order and how rough it is. And again, I'm going to stop the footage, folks, but I'm going to start it back. I need to bounce out of here, and I will be back momentarily. Okay, so Fuzzy, by all means, please take it away.
Well, as a fan of Star Wars and someone that played a good bit of Jedi Fallen Order, it was like a no brainer to pick this game up. Pre-ordered it, got the extra cosmetics and stuff like that. Decided I'd hop into it, and I was hearing some rumblings as far as, oh, there's like a list of stuff that the day one patch will fix. And you're seeing like the review scores, 9s out of 10s, 5 out of 5s, pretty reasonable scores, you would think.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of the taglines are it's a big improvement on a lot of the systems over Fallen Order in many ways. Although there are some things they could have probably spent more time on as far as other improvements or quality of life improvements. But my experience started with the performance mode. And as someone that was mainly 30 frames on the previous generation consoles, and then they had the update once they came to the next gen consoles to have it at a higher frame rate or kind of like a better blend of performance and visual fidelity. I figured, well, the performance mode should be worthwhile, and it just felt like somebody smeared Vaseline on the screen kind of thing, as far as it wasn't consistent.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, it seemed like it was probably closer to 30 frames, but the actual visuals in my eyes compared to like the previous one seemed like it was a step back, or even playing the previous one on my Series X.
Mm-hmm.
So I went to the quality mode as far as the 30 frames mode to at least get through it. And even that has its series of dips. And another thing that I kind of noticed that is a bit bothersome to me comparing it to the previous game. And I understand this is a much larger game, much bigger scope, a more of an open world type of map with multiple routes and things like that. The visuals even in quality mode, don't quite look like what you would expect them to look like in quality mode. There are still some textures that are a little bland or under, let's say, baked, I guess you could say. And if it wasn't for some of the jankiness of the movement, you could probably power through as long as you don't fall through the map or get stuck on a wall or wind up dying because your character can't turn and do the dash move at the same time or whatever the case may be. But I was a bit surprised and frustrated with reviewers giving it a much more positive review, being that, yeah, I understand the publisher gave them a whole list of things that they were going to work on and so forth. But it just seems like we're at this phase where we have certain publishers that will continue to push out a game just to meet a deadline or certain time period for financial reasons, which understandable on their part. But reviewers are almost enabling this to some extent by kind of looking the other way for games like this. Now, I don't know if that's going to be the case for other games that may have similar bugs or glitches at the beginning, but we'll certainly see. But overall, it's enjoyable, but there are some frustrating bugs that I encountered. And for right now, I'm going to put it down and go right back to Benedict Fox, which I got at least a day's worth of play before Survivor, or before I fell into Survivor. But Dave, what have you picked up Jedi Survivor yet?
I have not. I have not. But what Boom was alluding to though was that it seems awful. I don't know. It's like why aren't these games being looked at the same way? If Redfall is having quote unquote some issues, but yet just frame rates, from what I understand, there's been people that have leaked some footage already of it being played, and it looks pretty damn good. And I didn't see any hiccups or mess ups there.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. But yet the I guess the openness or the availability of this game that's playing right now, it's okay that it crashes and you fall through the floor, and that that it's really buggy, and that that you get 2 hours into gameplay and you lose everything and you have to restart it because it's not there. I mean, and that seems bad, and to me that would kind of affect my score a little bit, especially in the review code. I would at least maybe take a slight deduction for that and make sure that in the review let people know this is what I came across and this is what happened to me. And then they said they had a day one patch coming out that was going to fix a lot of these things, but it hasn't. Or if it has, it's made more problems or different problems from the patch, which happens sometimes when you fix a game, because some things interact with other models and things in the game that can happen to anybody. And I'm not trying to come down on this game. I'm just trying to where's the balance in Redfall when just because it's an exclusive and it's not on PlayStation, that it seems to get trashed into the dirt. And I just don't think that's to me, it's not fair to be looked at that way. But then again, there you go.
Agreed.
Welcome back, Boom. Oh, you're muted. He said 1 minute. That's cool. Yeah. When restart, he has to go back in and make some changes in the background. I get it, because he's still muted. We still see the icon.
All right.
There we go.
Now, okay, there we go. Yeah, Jesus. What talk about today. Yeah, this has not been a great day for Boom. I went out doing some errands, and I can't shift my truck into drive because I think the shifter cable might have gone. So I had to use the old trick of the screwdriver into the right by the shifter. What a pain in the ass. It's been a rough Monday, folks. But listen, I agree with you, Dave. I agree with you, Fuzzy. I have only had a couple of egregious bugs. The last one, I lost half an hour worth of play, which is a little frustrating. Thankfully, I didn't have to do a boss battle over. I mean, listen, if I were folks reviewing this game, I would probably give it an 8 out of 10. I think it's fair. There are some wacky bugs. There really is. And I kind of wonder if the gaming community is going to be as forgiving with Redfall. Now, I saw a bunch of footage, Dave, that you said were out there.
Mhm.
I definitely think that's breaking embargo. I
Right.
don't know if they were allowed to do that or they should have been able to do that. Needless to say, I am not going to get down on Redfall because one person put a review out that maybe isn't a positive review. I want to play it myself tomorrow. I will give it the old college effort. Like I had
Same.
said originally, folks, if it turns out that I'm having difficulty enjoying the game at 30 FPS, then I will put it down and I will continue Jedi Order. And if Jedi Order starts to continue to let me down, which it has in the later levels, like in the beginning, I didn't have any issues. I saw, and it's funny because I looked and I was like, wow, people are really having problems. Thankfully, I haven't come across any. And here we are. Like I said, the one right before the show, I got stuck in a wall, and I was like, "Oh man, I got to reset this." And there's no manual save, at least not that I'm aware of. I know that when you go to meditate, I think that is is basically like a hard save, so to speak.
Yeah.
Look, it's pretty crazy that in 2023, folks, we could get these high caliber games. One of which is Star Wars, and it's Respawn, and they don't usually miss. Now some people will equate, wow, boom, that it's still COVID, it's a thing, 2020, and this game started development then. I don't know. I don't know. I look, like I said, if I were reviewing what you see on your screen, I'd give an 8 out of 10 for the shortcomings in some of the performance issues. I know that the quality mode is what most people are playing in right now, which is what I'm playing in. Shout out to Jamie Moran, actually, who put a couple of tweets out there on how to get the best visuals and to shut off all the motion blur. And I shut everything off, and it looks gorgeous. Like I took a bunch of pictures. I've been posting them left, right, and center. Like I said, I'm quite enjoying it. I really do like Cal Kestis as a character. I think this is going to be crazy that this character is going to make it to live action at some point, which is pretty cool. And then we get in regards to Redfall. I can't really speak, guys. We can't really speak on Redfall. I unfortunately wasn't a part of the review, and that's fine because I normally don't do reviews anyway, so I'm really not offended. Microsoft had to get it out to the big sites, which they did. And what I'm hoping for is fairness.
Yeah.
Like I know that this game is coming in hot. There was some. Remember the original. Besides it being delayed, the original check mark that a lot of people were upset about were the tethering situation, right? Like and they fixed it. They fixed the tethering situation where, and I don't know why you would do this, but 4 people playing could be on 4 different parts of the world or the map, and it's great. And I don't know why you'd play a multiplayer game like that, but maybe some people do. That's fine. And so they fixed that. Obviously, it was a bit of a drag that it's not released at 60. And that's fine. A patch is going to come. Hopefully, like I said, it doesn't bother me. I played Gotham Knights in 30, and it was one of my top 10. Now, yes, granted. Hold on, folks. Don't no pitchforks here. I get it. It's a third-person open-world game versus a first-person open-world game, and I see that you definitely want 60, and I'm right there with you. I gave them the smoke, folks. I did it in a polite manner, but I gave them the smoke. I just hope, what I'm hoping for is the same kind of tenacity for Redfall in regards to reviews that Jedi Fallen Order got with its shortcomings, right?
Oh, you bought it out, Boom. I can't hear your voice. Or is it just me?
No, I can't hear him either.
Okay. Boom, we can't hear you. Yep. It sounded like a bot for a couple seconds, and now I can't hear your voice. Goodness.
Yeah, but like what Boom was saying,
Yeah, people are saying no, but no. And your microphone is now on. The little mute icon is on your voice.
Like Boom was saying originally, I hope Redfall gets some of the same, leniency that Star Wars gets through its review process. But if history shows anything, I don't know if the reviewers will be as kind, but we can only hope for that.
I'm waiting for Colt Eastwood's review. When we were on the show on Saturday, at the end of the show, he got his review code dropped to him, so he should have his review up. I would say sometime either today, as soon as the embargo lifts, where he can really. And that is actually one I'm looking forward to listening to, because people were giving him a lot of crap, a lot of second, and he's going to be. I think you're probably going to get one of the most honest reviews from Colt about this one, because he wants to save face and to be as honest.
Well, I mean, he's Dave. Do you hear me, brother?
Yes, we can hear you.
Okay,
yes,
so yeah. I mean, Colt Eastwood is a trusted source. Not saying that ACG isn't. I mean, ACG is like legit. Like I said, it's going to be what it's going to be. I just hope that we see the same kind of fairness. If Redfall is a good game, and it's just missing a 60 FPS mode, I hope it's judged that way. I don't know what else to say. But listen, I hate to do this again, folks. I am having all kinds of PC-related issues. I mean, as long as if my mic cuts out again, then I'm going to have to reboot my computer. But for right now, listen, I look, like I said, tune in tomorrow at 12 p.m. and we will give you the full skinny. If Redfall is bad, folks, I'm going to tell you that it's bad. If it's good, I'm going to tell you it's good. I think that's why you tune into Double Barrel Gaming. There's no doubt about that. Let's see. Tim Per 21 says ACG's review leaked and was brutal. It doesn't seem to be a good game. I didn't get a chance to see it before he pulled it. I don't know what happened. I think he might have set the wrong date, because when you're a YouTuber, you can do a review in the background and set it to release as a premiere video. I'm sure it was supposed tomorrow at the time that it released today. It's an accident. It happened. ACG's like legit dude. I don't think that that it's that look,
nothing malicious or anything like that.
It's nothing malicious. It's one review, folks. I have had people tell me for weeks prior to the release of Gotham Knights how terrible this game was going to be. This game was going to be so awful. One of my favorite games. Literally one of my favorite games of 2022. So not everybody's going to enjoy the same game. Redfall for me might be, a 10 out of 10 because it really harkens down to a very Far Cry-esque, and I love vampires. I love the world. I love Arcane. I don't love all of Arcane's games. See, that's the thing. Their games usually, folks, are critically adored. Commercially, they don't really sell that well, which is bonkers, right? I played Prey originally. Was like, came back to it after it got the Series X patch. Played about maybe 8 hours, and I was like, okay, I see what people are talking about, but again, not so much for me. And
hey, Boom.
Yes, sir.
Crispy's in chat, and he asked if you would send him the link. He is.
Absolutely.
He's got some things to say.
All right. Hold on a second. Let me get this bad boy started. I'm going to send you the link on your I'm going to DM you, but we'll wait for Crispy to get in here, and we'll get his hot take, if you will, on this. Hold on just a second, Chris. Check your DM. It should be there now. There you go. Should be there now. Listen, like I said, we got 500 people here, which is, listen, folks, I know I'm going to sound like a nerd, and I just want to say when we first started this channel back in 2017, we were lucky to get 12 people in the chat. And somehow or another, I am always in awe that we have this many people here. I am blown away by how well the reception has been for the channel. So I have to take the time to, while we wait for Crispy to get in here, say a big thank you. Honestly, it is it's more humbling than you know, because Dave will tell you, Fuzzy will tell you, doing YouTube is freaking pretty hard, man. And you're not always guaranteed to gain an audience. And I'm always humbled by the unbelievable success. But let me, while we wait for, there he is.
I want to say something real quick as he pops in.
Yeah.
The reason you're as successful as you are, and the reason all these people come back, is because of your humility. And the quality product you put out, dude. Seriously, man. It's you put out great product, and we all enjoy being here, and you give people a lot of opportunities that people normally wouldn't have. And your content is you're as honest as you can be and truthful, and you try and be as fair and straight down the middle to every type of gamer. And I appreciate that, and I know this chat does too, and that's why they keep coming back.
Well, that's very kind of you to say. Like I said, I am blown away, honestly, like blown away. Listen, before we get Crispy, the truth seeker, or the truth teller, as it were, let me just catch up on the super chats, folks. We have Drawn TJ, just a $2 super chat, and says the deal must go through. I gotta tell you again, I'll say this. Shout out to Post Up and FOSS Patents, Florian Muller. There's been a flurry of information that has come out, and the more that you read into why the CMA blocked this deal, folks, I listen, I got to be honest with you. When the deal got blocked the next day, I was like 5%. I was like, yeah, this blocked, man. That's it. And then I started seeing a lot of the like the minutia of it, and I gotta tell you, it is bonkers on some of the reasons why they blocked this. And I got a feeling that Microsoft has a good shot of actually winning against the CMA, because that's the thing. People keep saying, well, boom, just a second, no one's ever beaten the CMA, and that's true until someone does, right? Until someone actually does. So thank you so much for that, brother. Big Mad Mo.
But I'm sorry. I think because you had to jump out, you've lost some of the stuff. There's actually was 2 more before that. Let me read the.
Okay.
You got the first 2.
Please,
let me read those first 2
by all
real
means.
quick.
Yes, thank you.
Darren Haywood, a $2 super chat, and said, I highly recommend a Dredge Boom. It's very relaxing. I'm not sure what that is, but it's a DREGEG is what he's recommended to. And then there was Timothy Vores, became a new member to Breakfast with Boom, which we greatly appreciate that.
Thank you, brother. Definitely appreciate that.
Are you up to Big Mad Mo? I think that's what you do have on your screen.
Yes.
Okay, so I'll let you go from there. And I'll get the newest ones added as well.
I appreciate that very much. Yes, Big Mad Mo, who's been a channel member for over a year. Brother, thank you so much for that. He says, good morning, y'all. So I expect Redfall to get the same treatment as Jedi, right? Now it's Xbox. One problem, and it's doomed to fail as the broken mess. I mean, I don't know what to say. I kind of feel that, like, and again, I'm not being a bot here, folks. I'm just being honest. Like, it seems like everyone is gunning for Xbox to fail. Like, whenever something happens for Xbox, the dial's turned up to 11. When it happens to Nintendo, it's like, it's Nintendo. It's what they do. And when it happens to Sony, it's like, well, they have bangers. I don't know. I don't feel it's an even playing field. Look, folks, I have already said my piece about Redfall. I am playing it day one. I bought the Bite Back edition the minute it came up. I bought 2 of the controllers. I'm all in. And like I said, for me, maybe as the way I game, maybe the game is at 8 out of 10. Maybe it's a 10 out of 10. And I'll tell you that tomorrow, because I'm going to stay up late to play. But, some people are saying otherwise. I say like this. Pick your favorite content creator. and go and check out their videos tomorrow, because everything's going to be live. Colt Eastwood, HCG will put his back up there. Skill Up will put his up there. Everyone will put their up there. And if they're your favorite go-to trustworthy, if you feel that these content creators are trustworthy and you believe them, and the score isn't what you anticipated, the best I can say is play it for yourself. See, I go and I look at a review, right? Whatever the game is, in other words, for Sony, Nintendo, because, let's say, for instance, Tears of the Kingdom is getting 10s across the board, and one guy gives it a 4 out of 10. This is cartoon garbage. I don't like it. Are you going to listen to that one person? No, of course not. You're going to go and you're going to play the game for yourself, and if it's that type of game, you're going to dig it, and you're going to play it, and you're going to enjoy it. I mean, like I said, Redfall, unfortunately, is coming in with a lot of weight behind it, so I don't know if it's going to hurt the review. All I could say is that I hope that it's fairly reviewed. If the game needs polish and is waiting for a patch the same way what you see in front of you. We have Raiden Blade, who's been a channel member for over a year. He drops very generous £5 super chat and says, I'm telling you what, not to expect any new game running great on new tech until Unreal Engine 5 is fully used as for games developed or from the ground up, a new tech. I mean, I guess. I mean, I know UE5 is very easy to work with. I mean, I know Senua is using it, so hopefully that's going to be something that we check out at the end of the year. I mean, we'll see. Sir X-Man, what's up, brother? How you doing? He drops a $2 super chat and says, boom, new Prey is not better than the original. I loved the original Prey was. Oh, I thought we were getting a sequel to that. As a matter of fact, we were supposed to. If you remember, it was in development because I mean the game's old as hell. Spoilers: the protagonist gets sucked into space somehow, and that's where it was supposed to continue from. Prey, the original Prey, was pretty wacky, but pretty dope at the same time. Thanaros, who's been a channel member, wow, dude, for 43 freaking months. That's bonkers, brother. Thank you so much for the generosity. He says, positive vibes are what keep me a member for so well. That's very kind of you to say. Listen, like I said before, not to sound like a broken record, folks, if I can't be like this, like how I am right now in front of you, I swear to God, I'll close the channel. If I had to change in any way to gain subs and views and likes, I'll quit the business. Like I'd rather be the good guy and lose than be the bad guy and win. I say that all the time. So thank you for that, brother. Lore Master Jasper, what's going on, brother? He says Dredge is an RPG where you play as a boat. Oh, as a boat, cool. So wait a second. So you play as a boat, cool sleeper hit indie game. You know what? Now I have to play. Now I have to check it out because you play as a boat. Just on that, I have to check it out. Thanks so much, Jasper. The Black Harry Potter, my brother, Hogwarts. Still my game of the year. Don't fret. He drops a very generous $10. Jen says, good morning, Boom and Panel. I'm ready to kill some vampires tomorrow. Is it true that it's dropping by 8 p.m. tonight? I read that. I sure hope so, because that means I don't have to stay up to 3 o'clock in the morning, then have to get up at 6, because that would kind of suck. But I hope so. We also have, he drops another very generous $2 super chat and lets us know he almost forgot to tell us Hogwarts Legacy still game of the year. I love you, brother. Thank you. Drawn TJ drops a very generous $5 super chat and says Microsoft can make a new true crime since they own BK. Well, they don't own ABK yet. I mean, it's going to be a fight. Hopefully they will, but Crispy Bomb, first of all, brother, we didn't expect you here today, but you're here. What is it you want to kind of get off your chest? I saw you going on Twitter about people kind of freaking out. And what message do you want to invoke to the people concerned about Redfall?
Well, I wasn't expecting to be here either, Boom, but I saw my brother in a bit of turmoil with the computer, and I know how that is. You know that. So the one thing I'll say is that, we have to, actually, let me ask a question. How many people in this chat have Game Pass? Why don't you throw a 1 up in there? And then ask yourself, are you going to be able to play the game for your subscription?
Yes.
So why don't you make a judgment for yourself? I see a lot of people throwing
Yeah.
smoke at Redfall right now and not really playing the game. And I think that's unacceptable at this point. Okay. I really am not throwing any smoke at Jedi Survivor because guess what? I haven't played it yet. And because of what I've seen, and I've seen this before many times, I have chosen not to purchase it yet. And this happened to me myself with Cyberpunk 2077. So, you know what I'm saying? So you have to be relevant to the fact that unfortunately these games are released in somewhat broken state in some way, shape, or form. And whether it be, you know, right now we hear about the 30 FPS and this and that. I haven't, you know, like I saw maybe bugs, but a lot of people that I follow from New Zealand are saying the game runs really good and they're actually enjoying it. So I'm going to keep my opinion until I actually play the game. And I think people need to realize that there are some people that have already given themselves this mentality that because of this 30 FPS issue, the game is trash, or because it has a stylized, you know, look to
graphics.
it. You know what I'm saying? That it's trash. And I caution you to say, look, I can play the game for my sub. Let me go play the game. Yes, it's going to take up your space. And yes, we could do, you know, you want to argue about some, I'll tell you that, you know, the adding storage to the system, you know, actual storage, you know, the card is expensive right now. So if you want to argue about that, I'm fine with it. But then you could just uninstall it. And that's what I've been doing with games for a while now. You know what I'm saying? So do yourself a favor and judge it for yourself. Don't listen to all this BS. And that's really all I got to say about that.
No, I mean it's a great point. Look, at the end of the day, folks, we have to understand that no one should tell you what you should enjoy, right? Game Pass is a service that allows for a particular game, specifically first party, to be dropped in there. And if you like it, you're going to play through it like I did with Ghostwire Tokyo. By the way, if you haven't played that game, I rolled credits, I think it was Friday afternoon, literally right before Jedi Fallen Order, Survivor actually launched, which I was very happy to. I didn't rush through it. I have 41 hours it took to beat that game. One of my favorite games of the year. Like, honestly, I mean, after Ghostwire Tokyo and Hi-Fi Rush, folks, I'm here to tell you that Xbox has something really special in Tango Gameworks. So but hypothetically, if I wouldn't have liked Ghostwire, right? Because it didn't blow up the charts when it was on PlayStation 5 as an exclusive. I just delete. That's all. No big deal. Redfall is a game that.
Oh.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. So
we lost your audio again,
yeah,
bud.
yeah. Lost. Everybody tell them in the chat. Yeah, no. Yeah, I would do that.
We lost your audio.
I've been up since 1 a.m. So,
he still doesn't know.
Yeah.
Yeah, he does.
The fact is that, you know, we're at a cusp where, you know, these services do provide something, and sometimes, unfortunately, you know, it is taken advantage of. Mm-hmm. And I think this may be, you know, if this doesn't go well, because I'm gonna give the smoke, you know, and I think all of us will. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. We'll give the smoke when it's you know relevant, it's logical, it makes total sense. So
what is Crazy Lou got on his head? I'm sorry. What the hell is Crazy Lou got on his head? Crazy Lou. Oh, it's his motorcycle helmet. Okay.
Oh, okay. All right.
He literally just ran in the house, off his bike. His mic's on.
Well, this is perfect timing. He doesn't even know. But you know, this is the hot mess that is today. It's okay. Okay, this stuff happens. It does not happen to Boom very often, and that's where I was like, dude, I've been up since 1 a.m. Let me jump in here and let's talk about some stuff. And you know, like this Redfall thing, it's ridiculous because you know, Jedi Survivor. I mean, I've seen more people bring up some bad things about this game, yet it has such a good meta score. And that's where I ask this chat, and I ask anybody that listens to this podcast afterward to understand that you need to bring your own opinion on these situations. You don't always have to take everybody else's you know, opinion into consideration. Sometimes you just gotta play it yourself. And I think that's where Boom was trying to go with this, because you know, Hi-Fi Rush released so darn well, and it was a shadow drop, and you know, all these things about the embargoes and this and that with Redfall. Well, you literally didn't have any of that because we didn't know it was happening with Hi-Fi Rush, and it was pretty darn good. But that's where I go and say, Microsoft, you might want to start just, you know, like saying we're making this game, and then go and say, we're not going to give you a date. We might give you a year. That's it.
Yeah.
You know, it's going to come out. I mean, God of
I'd be
War
fine with that.
Ragnarok was supposed to come out a year before it actually did. Everybody remember that?
Oh,
You know what I mean? And I didn't give it, you know, crap. I just said, well, what's going on? You know what I'm saying? Because, you know, I feel like you're kind of lying, but Microsoft does the same damn crap. You know what I'm saying? And so does Nintendo.
Yeah.
I think all these companies need to start realizing that you might think the game is ready, but it's really not. You know what I'm saying? Like a lot of people are having no issues on, or less issues, I should say, on Jedi Survivor if they play in quality mode and not performance mode.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? So, you know, like that's 30 FPS if you didn't know. I'm just saying. So I think we're almost getting overcritical of games at this point. And especially if it's dropping in Game Pass, like you got the chance. You don't have to pay $70. You know what I'm saying? You can even subscribe for a month and pay $15. And if you don't like the game, or you don't like the games that Game Pass provides, then unsubscribe to it. It's not that hard. What are we doing here? We're like beating a dead horse. And we're doing this with multiple different games, multiple different companies. It's kind of ridiculous. And that's really all I got to say about that.
Crispy, one thing I wanted to throw back at you, and your points are very valid, but do you think it's kind of, I guess, unbalanced that a game that clearly has issues like Jedi Survivor is getting such a good review score, and a game that hasn't even been released yet to the general public is getting, you know, already, you know, potentially review bombed in Redfall, or the anticipation is that it's going to score so bad, but yet it seems to have, if anything, they have maybe some of the same problems.
Well, this is where we see media, we make up our minds before we actually know, before we actually get involved in something. And that goes for a lot of things we do right now. And I think it's a little ridiculous. I think, you know, you got to look at both sides of the spectrum. You got to look at, you know, what Sony has done. I've seen some incredible glitches that people just ignore. Like I've seen, like, you know, you could play as Spider-Man as a freaking mailbox.
Oh yeah.
Okay.
I
All right. And people are like, oh, that's not what I experienced. Okay, that's fine. I got no problem with it if you didn't experience it, but people just aren't making these things up. You know what I'm saying? So let's be cautious here. Let's allow the fact that the $15 is a nice thing to have. Yes. And I play a game like Ascent. I didn't beat it or anything, but I enjoyed the time I had with it.
Oh, I destroyed that game. What a great surprise. Yeah.
I mean, I didn't, and I called out, you know, the way it felt, you know, with the twin sticks and everything else. And I did this on one of your shows, Boom. You know what I'm saying? And that's where, you know, like, I look at people and they're arguing with me on Twitter, and I'm like, dude, like I called out Gears 5 because co-op in the campaign was trash. The multiplayer, I'm telling you right now, when it launched, was pretty darn good.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? But if you don't play multiplayer, you don't know what I'm talking about. So like the co-op when I played, okay, we had major issues. I couldn't like prompt stuff and stuff like that. I called it out. And that's what we do, you know, in this community. We call out stuff that's messed up. So when I play Redfall, and I'm not a big first-person shooter fan. So if I actually like the game, you should be surprised, okay? Because like Halo Infinite, I thought was very polished, but I suck at the game. You know what I mean? Like I really do. And it's just, you know, it's a fact. But I will also take into account that, you know, many people enjoyed it. And I also say, you know what? I leave well enough alone sometimes. You know what I mean? If it's not my type of game, I'll leave it alone instead of trashing it. And I think, you know, like I say this about Sony games all the time. That narrative, that story-driven, that non-multiplayer stuff, like I'm probably going to like Redfall playing with my friends.
Yeah,
and that's what I'm thinking.
Yeah, you're a multiplayer guy, so you're going to appreciate it.
It's one of those things. Like it's your preference, and you have to take your preference into consideration, not just all the trash that's going out there right now. And that goes for Jedi Survivor too. I mean, you know, and Boom, you weren't here, but I said, you know, a lot of people are playing in quality mode and having less issues than performance mode. Well, quality mode's basically in 30 FPS. You know what I'm saying? So what are we talking about here? Now, I've chosen not to purchase the game because of the issues I've seen. That doesn't mean I'm going to sit here and speculate on what I'm going to experience when I choose to actually purchase it. And I think that's something that we need to consider. And also, there's so many games coming out. I think a lot of people can sit on that hill with me and say, you know what? I got enough to play. You know what I'm saying? So
there is,
I don't know.
You know what? I like what you're putting down, Crispy. To be honest with you, I was saying this to Mav's wife. She was gonna last night. Mav and her streamed Dead Island 2, which is pretty cool to play as a couple. That's pretty dope. And I was saying, I said to her in a tweet, I'm like, my God, I bought it. I bought the $90 edition. I haven't played 1 minute of it, folks. I don't have enough freaking time. That's what it is. Look, at the end of the day, folks, I'll say this. Please, if you're interested in Redfall and you want a bunch of honest podcasters, where everyone that's a part of all my shows and their respectable, their own panel members, we don't do this for clicks, folks. We don't use hate as motivation for subs. We enjoy a game, we get excited about a game, and we talk about it. If the game isn't so good, we're not going to over criticize it. But if you want a full on, you know, impressions for Redfall, tune in tomorrow at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and we're going to talk about it. I'm going to have a bunch of gameplay. You make the choice. If it's a game for you, don't listen to the critics. The critics aren't holding your controller. Hold your own controller. Play it. If you think it sucks and you want to tell the world, then you get onto the socials and you tell them. But that's because you got a chance to experience it. Don't be fooled by someone with the banana in the tailpipe. Don't be fooled by that. Play the game yourself. If you like it, because I've seen a lot of video, and I got to be honest with you, I liked everything that I saw. That's me. Hopefully, that in fact is the case. Real quick, we got to welcome in Crazy Lou Gaming. What's going on, brother? And I just have to, before welcoming you in here, I see you're sweating. I have to apologize for the tech issues. Oh my, what? This is one of those Mondays I kind of want to throw out in the garbage because it's not been a good one. Oh my God, it's been terrible. But we're back. I unplugged everything. That's what you usually do, right? I unplugged my whole PC and put it back together. That's what took me so long. And guess what? It worked. So Crazy Lou Gaming, thanks so much for joining us, brother. How are you?
Man, I'm good. I came racing here. I was like, I gotta get there. But hey, I actually made it, and super happy to have made it in time, especially in this conversation where Crispy's talking about games. And I have something I gotta mention about this, Crispy, though, and this is something that people don't actually talk about. Can you name me? And I'm gonna give you probably 20 tops out of this generation, can you give me a game that came out, and I'm telling you, caught me 20 games that came out without issues? I mean, pretty much almost 90% of the games that have come out this generation have come out with issues, bugs, messes, performances. I'm telling you, it's the truth. I mean, people. Let's
I'll give you one.
Yeah,
Which
just
one?
one.
Yeah.
Well,
Just
Hi-Fi
one.
Rush
Hi-Fi
released perfect.
Hi-Fi
That's
Rush,
I
yeah.
mean, dude, that
the
is
one
the
game.
outlier. Dude, that's where I go and say, like,
Exactly.
let's
That's
just
because-
shadow drop everything now. You know what I mean? Like, let's just do that.
I'm
Like,
telling you.
seriously.
If we get into this and be like, okay, which game came out perfectly? Example, I'm gonna go for Sony, right? I'm not saying I am going to attack Sony, but it's true. Sony's first party games have come up with issues too. I mean, you got Horizon save issues, some stuff with performance issues. We even now I'm gonna go to Xbox. Forza Horizon 5. In order to connect and play co-op, I think it was like the first months. It was an issue, a big issue.
Yeah.
Then we got Halo with issues, and we have a bunch of games that came out with a bunch of issues. So maybe this generation is something that even Yoshida the other day came out talking about, that they're actually talking about you doing like an AI thing. And I think even Microsoft brought it to point that they were going to also do an AI thing in order to check their games before they release, because it's getting more difficult to develop these games, and probably an AI is going to help them detect these errors before they release, so they can release a better looking game.
Well, they're leading the charge in AI, brother. So why not?
Yeah. Why not? Exactly. Yeah. Instead of releasing these games with issues, and not only that, you're paying $70 for these games, and you want these games to be in
It's
optimal
funny
condition.
you should say that, Crazy Gaming, because don't you know, over the weekend it was found out. We're gonna get to that in a second. That $70 games not doing so good for Sony. As a matter of fact, not doing so good for anyone. And I kind of wonder if there's a chance. It's unlikely, folks. It's like, don't piss into the wind because it's going to come back in your face kind of a situation. I don't know, but they're selling less copies, but they're selling more consoles, right? I mean, go figure. Again, I don't necessarily think it's just a Sony problem. I think it's a problem. Listen, the world kind of sucks right now, and a lot of people don't have the spendable money. As a matter of fact, I'll ask everybody here on before I get to the super chats and I catch up with everybody there. There's a great question for the almost 600 people here. Mind blown. Again, sorry not to be Mr. Humble John, but 600 people on a freaking Monday afternoon, and with technical. I'll be honest with you. I feel bad. Did anyone tune into the Iron Lords? I was talking to Lord Cognito Swan. He was like, "Boom, you're not going to believe it. We shit out 3 times." And I missed King's speech, his victory speech for ABK. I got to go back and listen to it. And I guess his cooties jumped in from his phone into my phone, and they got into my pewter. And here we go. Lord Cognito, I'm blaming you. Listen, the question that I have for the chat, the question I have for the panel members here, with the situation which we talked about with like the Last of Us remake on PC, terrible. Fallen Order, Fallen Order, Jedi Survivor, a lot of bugs. Are people holding off on day one buys because of the bugs? Like, I mean, because again, is Jedi Fallen Order Jedi Survivor, is that gonna be a game that people look, they see the scores, and it's Star Wars? I mean, that's not, folks. I saw Star Wars in the theater. I'm old, yes, so I'm a stan, folks. I love Star Wars. Not all Star Wars, but most of the Star Wars. And I was in day one because I loved Cal Kestis as a character in Fallen Order. He's really a great developed character in the follow up. We're going to get a trilogy that has been confirmed, so I'm very excited. And he's going to move to live action, which makes me even more excited. But Dave, could that be what it is? Less games are being sold because of 70, and potentially because they're releasing with not finished products? Are people getting fed up?
Could be. It really. I mean, it makes sense. The prices are higher, so I mean, people are on a budget, you know, and a lot of people are talking about the sales of Sony right now, which agreed is going through the roof, but
Yeah.
they've really been able to get their product out there now. And there's a lot of people with the mindset that are casual gamers that are like, oh, it's available now. I see it in the store. I got to grab it. So I'll have it for Christmas this year for my son, my daughter,
Yep.
whoever's playing, my gamer in the family.
Mhm.
And that's why the sales are increasing. But yet the other, you know, the gaming product isn't increasing.
No,
and,
it's
and
not.
It hasn't been.
No.
And someone brought it up in chat, which I thought was really good. I give you credit if I could. It's going so fast now I can't see it. But you know, Sony was talking about their sales of their systems, but they haven't released anything about the sales of their new VR recently.
No, that's because it's
At
not doing
all.
it's not doing good at all. As a matter of fact, it's doing quite poorly.
You know what other game they have not released details? And I was talking with this with a friend. We got into a little argument, and I told him straightforward, look for me for those numbers in that game. Horizon Forbidden West has not hit that mark they were waiting for.
No,
I mean, they have yet released the numbers on the sales, how it went.
Well, you know why they didn't, crazy, because what they wind up doing to course correct, because no one was buying the game because it was broken. I mean, I bought the deluxe edition as you would expect and enjoyed it until I fell through the world 3 times in a row and lost an hour and a half worth of play. 30 minutes, 28 minutes, 26 minutes. I was like, I'm not doing this anymore to myself. I can't. I kept going into I had to climb this one particular thing, and every time I was climbing, I got stuck, and I'm like, I can't jump off. I have to reset. One I fell in, and another one I fell through. I said, you know what? That's, you know, I love Aloy as a character, and I think that team is amazing, but I can't. So I have not been back to it, but you might be onto something. You might be onto something. There's a reason why, and some people, you know, depending on who you ask, you know, they were able to justify the price increase of $50 by packaging Horizon in there, and it kind of was a thing for them. It kind of won for them because people were like, well, you know, $550, yeah, but I get Horizon. So they compounded the Horizon sales with the console sales to boost up the numbers. I mean, it is what it is. Fuzzy, let's get your hot take on this, because obviously I see a lot of people talking about it. Broken games, you would have thought that might have been a thing of the past, and that's not in fact the case. We're starting to see a lot of games release and not the greatest in places in their development, and we're getting these monster 60, 70, 100 gig downloads for day one. And something like Jedi Order, they said it was going to be fixed, and I can tell you that it's not.
Well, as far as I'll start off with the $70 games deal. And Benji Sales, you know, everybody knows him on Twitter when he puts out some of the reports from, you know, overall sales or charting and things like that. And I had asked him on one of his live podcasts a while back, like, has there been a $70 game that has reached 10 million sales? And he quickly said yes, but I'm like, one that was only available as a $70 game. And I think at this point, it's still no. For all the games that have been 70 that have reached that 10 million sales mark have also had a $60 component or a $60 offering available for the PS4 and Xbox One. So there's yet to be a 10 million in sales $70 game that's only available at the $70 price point. And part of it could be that, you know, shopper, not just looking at the economy, but shoppers in general being more thrifty or more you know, I guess smarter about their purchases. Because if you look at how games, you know, drop in price after the first couple of weeks, and like if you're buying it like a physical copy and you can get it over at GameStop, which those sales don't count as new sales to those companies, but
no.
You know, you can pick it up usually for like $5 less after a week or two at like GameStop. You could pick it up for sometimes 10% off within a month's time at like Target or Walmart. And then usually by the 3-month mark, it's usually either, you know, 20% off, 30% off. And if the game didn't do so well, 50% off or
usually,
better.
You pick up maybe $30. Yeah.
And if it's a game that releases around holidays, you can even see an even bigger deal where some stores will offer like buy 3 or buy 2 get 1 free or something along those lines. So I think people have gotten wise to the price drops just in general. And the $70 price point itself, when these companies are making the largest profits ever, yeah, the cost of making games have gone up, but the profits have exceeded that cost perspective, especially considering that more people, and even a lot of these reports show that it's like over 70% of the people are buying games digitally. So that's less cost for the actual, publishers as well. I mean, they have to have storage space as far as for, servers and things like that, but there's no more printing materials, there's no more storage, there's no more shipment stuff, or I wouldn't say no more, but it's greatly reduced considering that shift to 70% digital out there. And with places like Steam having, tremendous digital sales as far as for during certain times of the year where you wind up buying like 5 or 6 games for the price of one. Yeah, you might not touch those games for a while, but a lot of people are kind of, trained into doing that. And I've gotten out of the habit myself where I used to be one of those that would buy a game day one or pre-order it, get the bonus, buy the more expensive edition. And then 9 times out of 10, by the time I actually got around to playing that game, it was given away free either in Games with Gold or PS Plus, or it's coming to Game Pass or something along those lines. So it's like, wait, why am I throwing this $100 away when I could wait? By the time I actually get to play it, I could play it.
You could probably get it for $30.
Yes. And then if I want to keep it, buy it at a discount or even deeper discount at that point. So the $70 price point thing, I think over time, it may have been, I wouldn't say the straw that broke the camel's back, but it is going to, I mean, they'll get more per unit sold, but if they sell less units, then they kind of lose out on the grand scheme of things. Yeah. But when it comes to these broken games, I was talking about this earlier where I want to hold the feet to the fire as far as some of these reviewers, because it seems like they're enabling the publishers to release these games and then give some of them higher scores than what the game is performing at that time. Because it's kind of like, oh, well, based on the potential of these patches, this game should be this. Well, it's this now. If it's broken and it bricks your system or crashes or, it's, I wouldn't say unplayable, but not enjoyable to play because of the issues, then it shouldn't be a 9 or a 10. It shouldn't even be a 7 at that point. But if reviewers are not going to hold the publishers accountable for fear of being blacklisted, and if the publishers aren't going to, listen to the consumers that are, outcrying that, this is enough. We've already had 6 games released on PC broken as F or AF. Yeah. And you got, tons of games that come out with bugs, and then you have like the one standout, Hi-Fi Rush, where it's like I think the only patch they released was like a localization thing for Korean. And yes, it's like maybe more games should be like, all right, we'll keep everything as quiet as kept until we're ready to release it and we know it's polished to the nth degree. And yeah, I know us as fans will probably throw a fit because, well, what are you guys working on? Where's these games? But over time, if they constantly hold back on telling us the games, they'll just be like, oh, well, here's the state of play, or here's a director, developer direct, or something along those lines to, let you know about the games, and then we can all enjoy them at that point, fully polished and everything. But I would like to see some sort of change, whether it be the game reviewers holding more, more of a line against the publishers that are releasing these games, or the bean counters that are trying to get these games out in time for certain financial deadlines or what have you. But something kind of needs to change. And, if we're not buying the games at 70, we're waiting until they're on sale and patched and fixed. I mean, it's in many cases, it's better. You get a better experience when the game is cheaper, because at that point they've worked out all the kinks out of it. Yeah. Than being, the beta tester. I mean, unless we're going to do early access games, which, I kind of wouldn't mind. And I don't want to harp on like Redfall, but maybe Redfall should have taken the same approach as Grounded, possibly. But I don't know if that's always the answer either. But I think in the grand scheme of things for PC games, I do prefer a lot of those early access deals where it's like, okay, you pay 30 instead of the 60 or 70 or whatever, and you kind of help the developer, giving them feedback, and that helps grow the game. Hopefully, more towards what you want. But if it goes in the opposite direction, well, hey, you only paid 30, so it might be an alternative. But something has to give at some point with these broken games. Releasing from all platforms, because I'll be one of those to tell you, Horizon Forbidden West. I lost the first 2 hours because the companion wouldn't swim out of the lake to go observe something else, so that broke. And then doing so much of the combat, once I got some of the specials for like the charge or whatever, then it wouldn't leave that state. So I'm like hopping around and unable to attack anything. It's like there's just every game I've encountered this year, except for Hi-Fi Rush, has had, or even the past couple of years, have had some form of bug, and it's frustrating, but it is what it is.
No, I mean, it's a great point. Crispy, I want to bring you into the conversation, but let me just catch up on the super chat. There's been quite a few of them. The Gray Falcon OW drops a very generous $10 super chat and says, didn't Apple just win their CMA appeal in regards to the Epic store? See, I'm not sure. I know that Apple beat Epic, but I don't know if the CMA had anything to do with that. Wasn't part of the process where wasn't it part of the process of this process where Microsoft wanted to make a mobile store or smart TV store? You know what? The ABK deal is about mobile. I don't care what anyone else says. Microsoft will tell you that as well. We're gonna get into that in a second. There's been, I gotta tell you, like, when there's a lot of people on social media that have been trolling Florian Muller and Post Up because they just won't let this go. And you know what? They're right for doing so. What happened to Microsoft in regards to ABK is a crime. Okay? It is a crime. I don't care what platform that you like better. The ABK deal should have gone through. There is collusion between the FTC chair, Lena Khan, and the head of the CMA. That's a fact. They met before the actual decision. That's considered collusion. I'm not reading, again, I read a lot of the reports, 400 plus pages, folks. I'm not going to do that again for myself. So I say, if you really want to see what is wrong with this, follow those two dudes. And you will see they are spending time highlighting. They're probably, outside of Hogue Law, the two most respected content creators that really know their stuff. And so, I mean, again, we'll get into it in a second, but they equated, folks, all of Game Pass as a whole as being cloud. That's fundamentally wrong. And this is why the appeal process is going to happen. And I wanted to be done talking about ABK. I'm not going to talk about it on every show because there's not much to talk about. I'm only saying it today because over the weekend there was a flurry of tweets, and even the UK media coming out almost in a unison against the CMA, saying this is a disaster of a deal. How do they block it? So again, I don't care what platform you like, folks. The end of the day, this was wrong. This was wrong. I mean, you can say that it's the CMA protecting Sony. You can say that there's maybe some behind the scenes baseball going on between the two. I don't know so much about that. I know that the CMA, for as important as they are to the UK, they're just a bunch of dummies. Like, just read some of the stuff that they're going with. It really does not make any sense. It was a poor decision, and they really don't understand gaming at all. And you know what, folks? They were wrong about the numbers. They were curb checked by Microsoft. They had to recount what they said about the numbers. That's why they moved Sony off the board for market harm for console. And I'm here to tell you, they are wrong again on numbers when it comes to cloud. They are 1,000% wrong. But Kia Walker in the chat drops a very generous $5 super chat and says Redfall has a similar, what does he say? Simultaneously, so it will Oh, okay. So the game is launching across all regions, is what he meant to say. And yes, has been confirmed by several people here. It will be available on the East Coast. If you're on the East Coast, it will be available at 8 p.m. tonight. If you're on the West Coast, it will be available at 5 p.m. this afternoon. Raiden Blade drops a very generous £2 super chat and says, "Boom, bro, CMA blocked you." Ask the FTC to unblock me. I mean, listen, I don't know, brother. Something got me. I don't know what happened. Bad luck, I suppose. Jerron TJ drops an additional $5 super chat and says, Redfall comes out tonight at 9 p.m. my time, Washington State. Yeah, because you're in Central. We have Sarcastic Taurus drops a very generous $2 super chat, and he confirms also May 1st, 5 p.m. Pacific, 8 p.m. Eastern for Redfall. Gamer by Choice drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, I am concerned that Jedi Survivor is getting good reviews with issues, but Redfall will get the Xbox tax where issues are not overlooked. I really think that's what's going to happen. But I ultimately... You got to play the game, and I have a feeling that this is going to be one of those games that is reviewed and critically destroyed. I really feel that way, and I think like with the gamers, it's going to be one of those games that you're going to see like it has like a user score of 8.5 and a critic score of like 6.8 or 7.2. That's my feeling on it, but. Again, play the game for yourself, folks. And we're going to be talking about it tomorrow on the Xbox Factor podcast. And spend a significant amount of time talking about it. Brett Bingham drops a very generous additional $5 super chat and says, real reason PlayStation games aren't selling is that their fan base is busy obsessing about what Microsoft and the Xbox community are doing. SIE needs to buy Twitter.
Oh, that's good. I like it.
That's good. That's really good, Brett. I got to admit, that's very truthful. I kind of feel like you might be on something here. Oh my God. Well, listen, Crispy, let's get your hot take on this. Game Pass for Xbox gamers is a haven for not having to spend money on full price games. And some people, I've heard some really horrible takes calling it welfare pass, which if you're on that train, you're a moron. I'll tell you that right now. There's nothing wrong with paying for a subscription that gives you more than the value of what you're paying for. That's what you're supposed to want as a consumer. Do you think there might be something to the $70 game where it's being reported that games are selling less? And do you think bugs have anything to do with it? Because why should you spend 70 right here in New Rochelle, where Mrs. Boom and I live? If I go to my local GameStop, which is 10 minutes away, $76.43 with tax if I buy a physical game for a PlayStation. Or Nintendo, for instance, their first $70 game is Zelda. Not a surprise. Do you think there might be something to people are less willing to drop the $70 because games are not being released finished?
I mean, here's my problem with this, Boom. Is it a bad thing to be frugal with your money?
Certainly not. No, there's not.
Is it so? Like hypothetically, like I've been burned once, and that is I bought Cyberpunk on my One X. I now have a Series X.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, which it plays totally different. I already bought the game, and at the time, it was kind of in flux how you would just like. Get your money back. You know what I'm saying? Like it wasn't full on, but as these broken games have come out, Xbox has been pretty good about that. I'm just saying. Like I've seen a lot of people say, you go into and you actually talk to somebody or something, they get it done eventually. Okay. And you got to realize, like I've been through a lot of stuff when it comes to like talking to people and trying to get my money back. And it's much easier in certain aspects than others. Now, I will say this. It is nice to have Game Pass. Because if I don't like Redfall, I can just uninstall it. And I can go. I have not purchased Gears of War. Gears of War 5, I did not purchase it. It is on Game Pass. That's how I play it. Okay? And that's where I go and say, like, I still have the game that I play a lot of just sitting there.
Yep.
And you know, maybe it's much cheaper now, and then I could get rid of Game Pass, and then all of a sudden something comes out, and then I resub to it. I'm sorry, it's not logical to me, because you know, when you see shadow drops, and that's where I go and say Microsoft needs to go this route in some way. You know, it might not be all the time. You know,
Right.
you want to build the hype train. You want to build the hype train for Starfield. But if it releases in some kind of broken state, they're going to get twice as much hate as Jedi Survivor right now.
Yeah.
And many other games before it. There's going to be an issue. And that's where I go and say, people being frugal and saying, I will wait, is not a problem in my eyes. Your money matters. Your wallet being heavier than it usually is matters. And it might be just a plastic card now, but in realism, it is your money. You have earned it. And anybody that says, I will wait because I feel it's not right yet, there's no problem with that. But I don't have to wait with Redfall. And I think that's where we're kind of like, it's a convolution of just like imaginable thought process. It's like, okay, like I don't like a show on Netflix. Okay, I just don't watch it. I've had Netflix for like 10 years now. And you know what? There's always something else that's better or something else I'm interested in. And I think that's the Game Pass is trying to do. And that's where you go and say the $70 games, people are like, well, man, like even PlayStation sometimes, like you did it with Stray. You know what I'm saying? Like you said, I'm gonna have this service, and what it was like another $10, $15.
Yeah, I got an email from them, as a matter of fact. Yeah, I think I had to pay $23 to upgrade to premium, and I think I had 6 months left on my subscription for PlayStation Plus. And I was like, well, I'm gonna buy Stray anyway, so sure. I wound up paying like $28 after tax, and I got Stray. Stray was a pretty freaking good game. So yeah, exactly.
You know what I'm saying? So like how dare people use the services that these multi-million or billion-dollar corporations give you? How dare they? How dare me say, you know what? If I don't like Redfall, it's not going to sit in my library very long.
You just delete it. That's all.
You know, and then I'll go back to the games that I've been playing that I probably didn't purchase because I'm a subscriber anyway.
Right.
Or then the new game will come out, or the banger that'll drop. You know what I'm saying? You don't know what's going to happen. So as of now, like that $70 price point, yeah, I mean, I get the inflation. I get all of that stuff. I get that development costs more. I understand all of that. But that doesn't mean you can't make money other ways. And I think Xbox is figuring that out. And sometimes you're going to have a hit or miss, unfortunately. And I felt that through any subscription I've had. You know, even Disney Plus, dude. Like some of the stuff I get, I'm like, I'm not. Like I don't have Disney Plus anymore because I'm like, you guys aren't coming out with nothing great. You know what I mean? And one of, you know, the person that I was sharing it with was like, nah, I'm good. You know, we had the Mandalorian.
Yeah.
But as of now, what do you got? Not a whole lot.
Like they put the Peter Pan up there. So maybe a lot of people, maybe that's your jam. Maybe it's not.
You know, I don't ever, like when somebody disagrees with me about caring about my money, I have a problem with that. I'm like, well, how much money you make? You making millions of dollars? Well, okay, I would probably be there with you. But I also wouldn't be telling people that don't make millions of dollars to shut up. You know, like these PC guys right now. Like, come on. Like, seriously. You're hilarious because you are sitting here touting PC, yet you have to jump through hoops to play a damn game. And not only that, they are coming out worse on your freaking platform right now.
That they are. Yeah.
Okay. So I just like, I kind of like, I'm trying to ramp up having like my own thing, dude. Like some of these guys that put out like tweets and everything, dude, I have so many screenshots for some of these guys that just call out people all the time. And I'm like, dude, like
receipts.
You are literally being a hypocrite right now. And I would gladly show you, but I don't have the means to do it right now because you know what? I have more important things to worry about. And I think everybody else that agrees with me, you have more important things. You have a new lawnmower to buy. You have this, you have medication, you have all these other things that are more important. And the one thing Xbox does for you, it says we're going to give you new games that you have never played or have never been out on my service for $15 or even $10 a month. And I think that is very important. I think that's the reason why people are saying $70, that's too much right now.
Yeah, I think you're right. Crazy. Let's get your hot take on this, brother. $70 games apparently are an issue. It was proven. It's a proven fact, according to Sony's last financials, that game sales at $70 are slowing considerably. Their consoles are selling like bananas. Like I said, they had the best quarter in PlayStation history. 6.3 million consoles, PlayStation 5 sold. That's bonkers, folks. This is their PlayStation 5. This is the best numbers they've ever done. But not so much on the software. Now, again, we've learned that they may only have Spider-Man as first party this year. That's what the report said. So their games are, game sales are going to slow because they don't have, quote unquote bangers. Now they have God of War, they have Horizon, they have Gran Turismo. These games, they're for you to buy, and a lot of people are getting them when they buy their consoles, so they're not buying games. But do you think ultimately the $70 price slowdown in regards to unit sales has anything to do with games launching broken?
I'm gonna tell you something though about like I was saying before with the whole $70 thing and games coming out broken. That is true. Like I said, almost 90% of the games that have come out this gen pretty much have come out broken, buggy, issues. And like I mentioned it before, I think Yoshida, like I said, last week. It was last week. He was literally talking about how they're going to shift to bring AI and how AI is going to help them develop these games in order to be released. Because like I said, $70 is a lot of money.
It is
for a game. And this is a theory I have too. And this is a theory that I think it's happening. Could this be the Game Pass effect? Because I'm gonna tell you something though. People maybe go out there, hey, quality games, this and that. You know how they like to talk the whole quality if you pay 70 and blah 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 blah. But now we found out the truth that paying 70 is a lot of money for you to pay. So could it mean that probably PlayStation fans are looking at Game Pass and probably are probably sooner or later gonna ask Sony, hey, can we get something like this or similar to? Because really, we are seeing that, for example, look at Wolong, because Wolong,
Wolong's a great one to pick. I'm glad that you picked that because, folks, they announced, the developer of Wolong, that they sold 1 million copies. You're like, wow, that's great, right? But but Crazy Lou, 3.8 million players played the game on Game Pass.
Yep.
Triple, almost 4 times the amount of sales. Something to be thought about.
Yeah, because I'm telling you, this effect is helping them sell games, and not only they sell their game, they're also making money through Game Pass. I mean, it's probably one of the best things that there is out there, and probably the Sony fanboys and the Sony on the Sony side of things are probably taking notice of this and probably asking, hey, can we get something or maybe similar to this or maybe better? Because really, we see over there on Xbox, like for example, we saw that hardware went down, but Game Pass went up. So Game Pass is probably the thing right now, and it's probably is what taking that console back there, right behind me, that Xbox. Game Pass is what it's taking it to where it's got to go. Because I'm gonna tell you something, guys. No matter what, when people come at me over the $70 thing, I'm like, why would I want to pay $70 for a broken game? And I also gave them an example. Let's say if next month, I give them an example. Next month, right? You get 5 games you want to play, and they cost $70 each, but 3 of them are coming to Game Pass. What are you gonna do?
I'm going to buy 2 of them and play the other ones on Game Pass. What I'm going to do.
Exactly. And what would I do? I will wait for the other 3 to price drop in order to get it, but I already played them. You know, that's right. What a smart person would do.
That's being a smart consumer is what that is.
Yes. And instead of going out there and just spending $350, right? $350, like I said, and right there, right on the spot, and play one game after the other. No, because you have these 3 on Game Pass, and you're just going to play, okay, I beat this one, let me play this one later. You're not in a rush, you know, or going crazy because they're right there on Game Pass. You can play them right there, nice and easy. Save up your money. You don't have to pay $350. So, yeah, these developers, like I said before, they have noticed that because the other day I sat down and I was like, wait a minute. But there all these games, and literally I was talking to a person about this like 3 days before they announced the Yoshida thing about talking about how the software sales aren't doing good. I think it was 3 days before they were talking about that. I was like, when people bring up that subject about paying $70, I don't believe them, because really I am a person that, hey, I can buy any game I want. Right? I can go right now and say, hey, let me buy 10, let me get 15. Okay, cool. But you know what? I sit down and think about it. It's like, would I want to pay $70 for a game that just came out right now and probably is broken? I'll give you a big example of a big game that came out totally broken and only worked on one console, which is Pong Super Console. That's what I call it. Pong has the best Xbox out there, which is Battlefield 2042. I mean, that Battlefield game came out so broken. Literally, it was like a year and a half later, they actually patched it up and made it better, but it still is broken. So why would I want to pay for games that for day one that are coming out broken? I'd rather wait for a sale till they patch things up, right? Wait for a sale and get it at a better price, because really you take my what's it called? In Spanish it's called entusiasmo. You take my enthusiasm away from going to buy that game.
Yeah, 100%.
I mean, I was one of those people who used to buy games day one. Dying Light 2 was a big example. I bought that game day one. Asked me if I played it. I already played it on the Series X for like an hour, and I was like, man, I don't like the way this game looks. I'm just going to wait till they patch it up. So I have to wait now for them to patch. After they patch it, then I will come back and play it. So seriously, I'm like, why did I pay $70 for this? Same thing with Jedi Fallen Order. I was really psyched because I'm a big fan of Star Wars. Right? I was like, yes, I'm going to get this game. But when I heard they were having performance issues, I said, wait a minute. I'm going to wait.
Survivor. Jesus.
I keep messing it up too. Yeah.
Oh yeah, Survivor. Sorry. Jedi Survivor, right? So I was like, wait, I'm excited for this, but then I told myself, wait, they're having performance issues. Let me wait. I'm not gonna pay $70. I'm not gonna give them the pleasure for $70. No way. I mean, literally, that just right then and there just made me stop and think about it. Yeah. So yeah, guys. Yeah, that's how it is. I'm sorry. I want to give you my $70, but if you keep releasing broken games, I'm gonna wait for a sale. So that's why Game Pass is one of the best options out there. Because, for example, look at Redfall. Redfall, we don't know if it's going to come out as good or if it's going to come out, as we really want it to come out. But if I play the game and I see issues, and let's say it's going to have some issues, I'm going to just say, okay, uninstall. When you fix it up, I'll come right back to it. That's it. Yeah. Fix it up.
Yeah, you weren't here for the first half of the show, but ACG's review leaked.
Yeah.
And it was 4 out of 10. He said it's the worst game he played all year. So he had to pull it because obviously like I said, he's legit. He's a legit dude. I know Jeremy, not personally. I didn't hang out and have a beer with him, though I would. I'd have a Dr. Pepper, not a beer. But he's legit. He's like a legit dude. And he works really hard on his content and made a boo-boo. That's these things happen. So again, that's why I was saying, folks, don't get excited by his review. That's his opinion, and he's entitled to it. If he doesn't like it, he doesn't like it. Maybe you will. Maybe I will. Maybe I won't. Maybe I think it's awful. We'll talk about that tomorrow. But folks, we're going into a little bit of overtime. Normally, this is a 90-minute show. I first of all, I'm gonna have to rewrite the whole title because we didn't even get into the ABK thing because I'm tired of talking about it. We're probably gonna talk about it maybe on Wednesday. Yeah, but we got to talk about Titanfall, folks. Titanfall is probably one of my favorite franchises from last gen, without a doubt. Like, it's up there. Like, I don't know what happened to Destiny now. I haven't played in about 5 years, but Destiny 1, I got almost 1,000 hours in that game. Destiny 2 got about 550, close to 600. I love Destiny 2 on the first couple of like seasons after, and then it just completely fell off a cliff for me. The Division is another one, and I know that Fuzzy Belvedere loves the Division. Division 1, absolutely loved it too. I like it. Like, I really like it, but not the same as 1. But Titanfall, folks, I will say this new story that I pulled from videogameschronicles.com where they interviewed Respawn head. It's Vince Zampella is, like I said, he's just released not Fallen Order, Jedi Survivor. Thank you, Crispy. And it's a good game, but it's kind of effed up. You know, there's things happening. Like I said, I lost half an hour this right before the show went live, and I was like, I hope this is not happening forward. But bringing in Titanfall. Why am I talking about Titanfall? Because I don't know how many hours you put into it, but I put hundreds, if not close to 1,000 of hours in Titanfall 1 and 2. My favorite franchise, literally, like it's up there as one of my favorite franchises of all time. And folks, I'm sorry to say, it doesn't look like we're getting a Titanfall 3 anytime soon, and that breaks my heart. That kills me. So Respawn's CEO Vince Zampella had some things to say. He was apparently he was speaking to Barons, who I don't know who Barons is, but he claimed that Respawn is not working on anything currently, and this is what he had to say, folks. I hate to say yes, then people latch onto it, and then they skewer you when it doesn't come out. But I would love to see it happen is the real answer. There are no exact dedicated plans for Titanfall 3. He goes on to say, folks, it has to be the right thing. It's such a beloved franchise for the fans and also for us. If it is not the right moment in time, the right idea, then it doesn't make any sense. He goes on to say this, folks. Apex Legends is in the Titanfall universe, right? There's how you do something that doesn't confuse people that are Apex fans, but not necessarily Titanfall fans. Yet it's hard to question. It's a hard question to answer, but ultimately, I would love to see something. And he goes on to say, Titanfall Legends was not Titanfall 3 because it was a lot because in a lot of people's minds, I think Titanfall 3 was going to be a new standalone game with a single player campaign and a multiplayer. And they couldn't just never do that again after Apex Legends changed the calculus on those things. So it's really a money thing. I look, I don't develop games, folks. I'm just a diehard nerd, right? Like I don't really want to know how they make the soup. I just want to eat, right? I find it hard to believe that a studio the size of EA and having Vince Zampella, who is the father of Call of Duty as we know it, come out and get taken out of Activision in such a heinous way, found his way to start Respawn Entertainment. Just a word on play, they respawned and they made this company. They made Titanfall. It was originally online only, like no single player. And I was like, yeah, I'm not buying that until I saw it. And I was like, yo, this reminds me of Transformers times 10. And I played it, and don't you know, I got every achievement in that game. It was life-changing for me as a gamer, especially in the multiplayer scene where I only played Halo. Well, Dave, this is a bit disappointing. I mean, I guess the one caveat that we can take away from this interview with Barron's for Vince Zampella, who is the CEO, of course, of Respawn Entertainment, is that at least he understands fandom. He understands that we all want it, and that when the time is right, we're probably going to get it. The question is, Dave, when is that?
Yeah, exactly. When. But the thing I take away from it is the most encouraging thing is that he put positivity out there about it. He acknowledges,
yep,
you know, that it is the game is really well done. It came out kind of at a bad spot when it came out against some other big games at the time, and I think that's what kind of hurt it to begin with. But it's a franchise that's there. It's good. I mean, you play a lot of footage of it, and that's what makes me.
I'm sorry. People bark at me for that. Hey, Boom, you're playing too much Titanfall. Listen, I love that freaking game. I'm sorry.
Exactly. Yeah, get your own show. But anyway, so I'm just saying. But Titanfall 3 is definitely, and I like that the way he said it, because if anything, at least it continues the conversation, gets it out in the ether. It's kind of like the talk. Boom. Some people give you a hard time. I know Colt does a little bit. He's teasing.
Yeah, he teases me. He does. He DMs me all the time. He goes, banjo.
Yeah, exactly.
My freaking banjo. Exactly. I'm sorry.
Exactly. But the thing is, you keep talking about it. You keep bringing it up, and maybe someday it'll get done. All I can say is that I know that a certain conversation was had, and it wasn't a definite no. It was that's an interesting idea.
Indeed, it was, sir. So, indeed, it was.
So there is hope for all of us.
Listen, I love being on hopium. I'm gonna be honest with you, not opium, but hopium, because you know what? Listen, if you have no hope, you must just toss it in the garbage. Amen. No, I love what you're putting down. Like I think you're right. I think that he could have come out and said, "Listen, it's not coming out. Stop asking." And if he would have done that, then I would have died, because I think that there is a world. And again, I get it. The Apex Legends thing. I played it, folks. I didn't like it. It's like, it's kind of like Fortnite with 3 people. Okay, wonderful. It's just not for Boom. Now, if I'm dropping mechs onto your head, and then after you're dead, I'm laughing and I'm jumping into mine to go kill someone else, that's amazing. That's what I'm talking about. But Fuzzy, let's get your hot take on this. This is, I think there is a world, and I understand from a creator's perspective, from a CEO's perspective, what would Titanfall be up against? COD. Especially, and it's not just regular COD, right? Regular COD is just sells like crazy, but you have Warzone, you have obviously Apex Legends. It's going to be going up against one of its own in the stable. You can't discount Fortnite. I mean, they just know how to do it, man. I mean, their game has advanced in such a way, so it is a big ask to bring a game that is somewhat similar to COD, but with big robots. But I think it's so unique in its way of playing. The fact that you do drop these giant robots, and I mean, I don't know how many modes anyone played. I played every mode, and I think one of the most fun ones was it was just Titans versus Titans. That was freaking crazy. Are you disappointed like I am, or did Vincent Pella leave the door open?
I think he left the door open to some extent, because one thing that we've noticed over recent years with EA is that after a while they do tend to listen. Like before, they were all about, it's got to be multiplayer. We don't believe in single player, campaign driven, stories. And what did Vincent Zampella do with Star Wars Fallen Order? So that's an example where they kind of open up the door and allow them to make a game to their liking, much of what the fans were calling for, against what the original or the main CEO for EA was saying as far as for their direction moving forward. They also have done some fan service games, like with the Star Wars Squadrons was another one where
Yes.
it was a smaller experience, but it was like something that could have been looked at as just being a mode in like your Battlefront 1 or
Yep.
2 kind of thing.
Yeah.
But they went and made that and sold it at an adjusted price. It was only like $40 in comparison to being a full 60
Yeah.
or 70 or something like that. So there is opportunity, but I think the big drawback right now is that the bean counters are looking at what Apex Legends is pulling in on a regular basis. And even with all of its turmoil amongst its community, where they've gone through hacks, they've gone through like lulls in content and things along those lines. I think if push comes to shove, if there's enough of a team to kind of split off, I think Titanfall 3 has a real chance. It kind of depends on if they're going to do Ultimate Trilogy for this Jedi, Fallen Order and Survivor. If there winds up being a third one, I don't know if Titanfall 3 would be before that or after that, but I do believe it is something that they will consider. I mean, look at Dead Space. Like, people have been asking for a remake or a new Dead Space for almost a decade.
Yeah.
And it took some of the previous devs making the game or making Callisto Protocol, even though it didn't, land as well as the Dead Space remake did. But that kind of, kicked them in the pants to, push that project forward.
Yep.
The same thing with like the Skate series. The same thing with, I'm hoping, Undisputed, the in preview boxing game, kind of lights the fire under them to bring back Fight Night. So there stands a chance, and we got, what is that, Armored Core coming out? Yes, I know it's not like Titanfall, but if they see that there's more of this lean towards robots or Titans or anything along those lines, where that's the new popularity, much like zombie games have been for the past 10 years, I think that also helps open up the door, because they've made some missteps as far as releasing it at the same time or within the window of Battlefield, but they've kind of muddied the Battlefield name to some extent, releasing it kind of unpolished. But I think there is an opportunity. It's just that when that opportunity hits, who knows? I think it will take a cross between Armored Core doing really well and possibly Arc Raiders, or I think it's Raiders as opposed to Riders.
I think you're right. Arc Raiders, yep.
Even though it's not a Titanfall-esque, it has some of the movement and you're fighting against robots. So things like that, and that if that becomes the popular thing to see in games, I think we do see a Titanfall within the next 6 years. It's just how close within that window.
I just hope so, because I don't know if anyone got I have both collector's editions. I got the helmet and the mech. Just glorious. Mm-hmm. Listen, I want to bring Crispy and Crazy in on the conversation, but I got to chat a couple super chats, a couple of really big ones. First of all, Brett Bingham, he drops an additional $5 super chat, and he asks, boom, is Sean LeBrie working on that Star Wars intro for the State of ABK deal? If the deal passes, I will spend the money to have an intro done by Sean LeBrie, who is talented out the ass, when I can say that. That guy is just amazing. Very hard to get in touch with, but that's because he's so sought after. His work is, when I tell you, ridiculously good. We have Gamer by Choice drops an additional $5 super chat and says, your recommendation makes me want to try Jedi Survivor. Prior, if I had a choice playing Cal or watching grass grow, look at the pretty grass, Star Killer. I would love to see them take those Force Unleashed games. I know, don't boom me on my own show, please. Remake those games and I'll buy them. Like, straight up, those were great Star Wars experience, and Star Killer was freaking awesome. Sorry, not sorry. Drawn DJ. Oh no, we have Raiden Blade drops a £2 super chat and says $70. It's the same style of game all the time. Yeah, I he's talking about for Sony. I get it. A lot of people don't like the Sony's very cut and paste type of game. I hear you, folks. Not every game is for every gamer. Those games are for me. It's why I bought Horizon and God of War, and I will wait. I have not purchased Last of Us. I really want to play through the remake, but I'm not spending $70. For me, it's 20. It's like a $20 buy, or probably, hopefully, get into my service that I paid $120 for. But yeah, I like those games. I know a lot of people don't because they're very cut and paste. Like I'm playing through Jedi Survivor and I'm smiling like a child because it's giving me all of the Nathan Drake vibes I could possibly want. It is very, very heavily influenced by Uncharted, and I absolutely love it. Jordan TJ drops an additional $5 super chat and says, if the ABK deal falls through, go to EA, make everything multi-platform. Titanfall needs a Need for Speed and a new Burnout and Battlefield. I don't know. I don't think Microsoft's gonna let this go. We're gonna continue to talk on it, but after what I've seen, the CMA really, I think when the tribunal actually sees the mistakes that they made. Oh, I mean, folks, I'm not being a bot here. Like I'm straight up read everything that Florian Muller and Post Up are putting up there. Everborn Saga is also posting about it. They made a lot of mistakes, man. Like they really, it almost seems rushed considering how long it took. And the mistakes that they made about cloud are even more egregious than the mistakes that they made with the PlayStation numbers. So I really, honestly, I know it's going to take a long time, and I don't know if I'm tired of talking about it. But the truth of the matter is that I think, because like I said in the opening, folks, everyone keeps saying, this is everybody, not just people on PlayStation or Xbox. Oh, but no one's ever beaten the CMA until someone beats the CMA. That's what's going to ultimately happen. I got a feeling it's going to be Microsoft. Not to mention the Prime Minister he can change the decision. He can veto what the CMA said. And if this is a national security thing, which Brad Smith kind of said it is, and they're going to pull out of the London Stock Exchange, I don't know. I don't know. It's going to be very interesting, to say the least. I just want my $15 to be worth more money, and ABK does that. So for me, as a selfish gamer, I want them to get ABK. We also have, wow, this is crazy, folks. The Last Paladin 777 drops a ridiculous, and I think too generous, $50 super chat. And he says, Crazy Lou Gaming is correct. I own a PlayStation 5 and a Series X with Game Pass, and Game Pass has actually caused me to wait on purchasing PlayStation 5 games. I save money because those games end up on PlayStation Plus. Also, Boom, you're damn awesome. Brother, thank you so much for the very kind words, but really thank you for the outstanding generosity. That is bonkers. Norse Monster drops a very generous $5 super chat and says, I feel Starfield was delayed partly due to Redfall. I'm boycotting Redfall, and I will not buy it until it's discounted. I vote with my dollar. I mean, listen, brother, if you don't have Game Pass, you absolutely should vote with your wallet. If the game is unpolished and it's missing features that you as a consumer want, absolutely do. Don't buy the game. I have been on the ground floor with Redfall since it was announced, since its first trailer. The minute the Bite Back edition was in Game Pass, that I bought it literally the first day. I bought 2 of the 5 controllers, and to be honest, if I had the money, I would have bought all 5. I like controllers.
You missed one.
Was that?
You missed a chat.
Which
you did.
One did I miss?
Gamer by choice.
Okay, yeah. Gamer by choice drops an additional very generous $2. Super chat says, if I can't get Sam Fisher, then no Banjo. I mean, why can't we get them both? That's what I
exactly.
I mean, just buy the license IP, or make an exclusive deal with Ubisoft. They need money because they're in trouble. I mean, listen, vote with your wallet, but Crispy, let's get your hot take on Titanfall. Obviously, you are our multiplayer guy. This, I mean, again, I get it from it's got to be the right place, right time kind of situation. I don't know when that's ever going to be, but do you feel that Vince kind of left the door open for maybe a free-to-play Titanfall potentially happening?
I think Vince is a little frustrated right now. I think EA made them push Survivor out. That's my opinion, and I think as the sales numbers come out and everything else, and we're ending fiscal years, a lot of people have to realize that.
Yep.
I think Vince is going to have a higher
June 30th.
position. I think he's going to have a higher position in EA. I think Respawn themselves needs to go back to their roots in a way, and I think Titanfall 3 would be amazing to do so. I've never like beaten or anything like that, but I played enough community game nights that involved Titanfall 2 to say that game is extremely well made.
We played together,
and
dude.
It is still a very good game to play. I'm sorry. Like, if you like multiplayer games, you like mechs, you like, first person shooting. I'm not good at it, but my God, I had to enjoy it at some point because I was like, I got in this mech and I killed this other mech, and I'm like, man, this is awesome. You know what I mean? And having your friends there and talking to them, and I think that's where like we're at a point where, like some companies need to like linearize themselves. Like Jedi Fallen Order was really good. It honestly got snubbed for Game of the Year, in my opinion. Survivor, I feel, is rushed.
Yeah.
And it's because of the hype, because people are still talking about. I mean, you guys have said Fallen Order like how many times?
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
ridiculous.
You know what I'm saying? And I haven't beat the game, but I'm probably halfway through it. And
didn't they delay that game too? They delayed the Survivor. They delayed it before, right? Or am I wrong? They did delay it.
They might have. And it's just like Anthem. Like, dude, like if they actually had the power of the consoles now, I think Anthem would have been something a little bit different. The problem I had with Anthem was the wait times. It was ridiculous.
Yeah.
It was like 2-3 minutes for a load screen. I'm like, whoa. And I was on the 1X, bro. You know what I'm saying? So, now you look at it, it would probably be a little different. So I look at EA and I say they rush things, but also they're quick to kill things. They're quick to kill it. And I feel like they're quick to kill Titanfall. I feel like they don't understand that, the aspects of Titanfall aren't quite touched.
Yeah.
On every other game. Like you could say Apex, but do they have mechs? I mean, I don't think so. Right? Do they have mechs?
No.
I mean, the seamlessness that I felt between, running around and shooting people and even trying to take down mechs with certain weapons, and then going to the mech that I called after I got a certain amount of kills. It is very invigorating. It is very interesting. It is something I haven't really experienced much. And that's where I go and say, like, if the game comes out somehow, I'm down for it. And I think if you haven't played Titanfall and you're sitting in the chat, you probably should.
Yeah.
Because, at some point, EA is just going to shut down the servers. You know what I'm saying?
I hope not,
Titanfall 2, like, you could still get a game going, but I'm just telling you, like, EA, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if Battlefield 2042 just gets thrown to the curb, even though people are starting to get into it. EA is too abrupt to do things.
Yeah.
And I think they need Vince to kind of level the playing field and say, look, we don't have to be all multiplayer. We don't have to be all single player. We can ride that line, but we need things to let them settle or cook, and then we release them. And I think EA is just used to Madden and FIFA, which is now what
To make a lot of money. That's probably why.
And I think the NFL is going to take away their license at some point for Madden, and it's because EA just money machine, and then people trash it because they've played all the other iterations, and they're like, bro, this is not what we expected. And that's the problem that EA has. And the only thing they got to fall back on is throw it into EA Play. And it happens to be on Xbox Game Pass. Yeah. You know what I'm saying? So like me, it's almost like at this point, I'll just sit there and wait for them to bring something to me on EA Play, which ends up on Xbox Game Pass. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's where we go back all the way back to what we were talking about earlier. This is the problem. Okay. Like they are so quick to release games because they'll get the people that don't care and they just want the game immediately. They're $70, but then they're like, oh, well, we'll release it in our service. And I think a lot of companies are going that route in some way, shape, or form. So we look at Titanfall and we say the game, I never heard anybody really talk trash about it. I'm just saying. You know what I'm saying? Like you had your doubts, like when it was only online only, like you said, Boom. But Titanfall 2, it's a hard sell to find somebody that really talked trash about the game.
No,
I think really personally, you sometimes got to go back to your roots. And I think this is a good
you're
route
right
to go for.
I love it. I would love. Listen, I know Apex Legends makes a lot of money, folks. I get it. Like it's not for me, which is why I don't play it. But I understand it's a cash cow. Crazy. Let's get your final take on this, and I'll get everyone out of here. And again, I apologize for the show being a little bit longer. This is a much bigger panel. Plus, my technical issues today really just annoyed the shit out of me. But Crazy Lou Gaming, are you happy that Vince just didn't come out and say no? There's no, because to me, there's a chance. There's a GIF, there's a chance. I mean, he didn't say no. He knows how passionate the community is when it comes to Titanfall. He understands how well received Titanfall 1 and 2 were. By the way, if you didn't know, Titanfall 2 released on October 28th, 2016. Think about that, folks. 7 years ago. And I am telling you, I implore anyone, you skip that game, please, for the love of gaming, go play the single player. It is by far one of the greatest single player stories that has emotion and action. I'm getting goosebumps saying it. One of my favorite single player games in that genre of all time. Talk about it, Crazy. Do you think the door was open enough?
I'm gonna say so that game needs to come back to part 3. I mean, I'm 100%. I'm just happy that he actually talked about it, because all of us were asking, where's part 3? Where's part 3? Because you really wanted Titanfall 3. I wanted Titanfall 3. I played the heck out of Titanfall 2. I loved it too. The thing is that, like what they say, it was stuck in a sandwich with so many good games out there. It was just stuck out there that people didn't sit down and actually take a look at it. But hey, after all these years, after all these years and things going on, and him coming out and just talking about it really has me excited. And I really wish and I really hope that EA lets someone, gives you the opportunity, which what I'm seeing something about EA and I'm happy about. One thing about them is that they are actually looking back to their single player game things. Because I mean, look, they brought Dead Space back, the remake, and man, it was amazing. And they are trying to bring back stuff, to continue to make their catalog better instead of just making all these multiplayer games that they've been doing for years. I mean, now we got Jedi Survivor, which of course it has a performance issue, but okay. But either way, though, that story's got to be amazing. But like I'm saying, him going out and just talking about it, oh my God, I saw that news today. I was super excited, super happy. I was like, man, I can't wait for them just to give him the go to do that game. And he has to do it. He has to bring us part 3. We need a new Titanfall. And I hope it comes out real soon that he announces we are making a Titanfall 3. So please go ahead, make it. Please do.
Yeah. Well, listen, folks, I got to catch up on a few of the super chats. First of all, we had almost 600 people here on a Monday. I honestly cannot thank you enough. I hope that you folks tune in tomorrow. Mav is going to be joining Retri, myself, Infinite Umbra, as well as Danny. And we may even get one or two other people to join us. Obviously, we're doing a Redfall launch special edition, launch party special edition podcast. We're going to be talking about the game. You're going to see footage from the game. We're going to give you our impressions. We do have confirmation, folks, that if you're on the West Coast, 5 p.m. this afternoon, the game will be updated for you. Leave your system in idle, so the update will automatically update to your console. For us East Coasters, which is of course is the best coast, sorry. 8 p.m. Eastern, we'll be able to play. We'll be able to start playing it there. I'm probably gonna stay up too late tonight, but you're gonna get a full on. I'm gonna try and get at least 3 or 4 hours worth of gameplay, not only recorded, but so I can tell you about it. But again, thank you so much for coming in and not really hassling me about the technical issues. I don't know what happened today. It was just one of those manic Mondays, man. Spartan Ghost drops not one but $2 super chats. And the first one, a £2 super chats. He says the UK administration's incompetence know no bounds. Yeah, it's pretty scary. But that's again, if the EU and China pass it, I think the CMA is going to have to walk it back, folks. Ultimately, because their reasoning is egregious. Drawn TJ drops an additional $2 super chat and says, look, EA killed Command and Conquer. I'm not an RTS guy, so I'm not that broken up about it. They did. And that's unfortunate. A lot of people like Command and Conquer. Personally, I've said this before, folks, my favorite RTS of all time is Aliens versus Predator on the OG Xbox. I have 2 copies. One sealed, which is worth $300, and one that's open. The best RTS I've ever played, but let's get to the outros. We'll start first with Web Dave. You dropped an interview today with Pixelbit G. You have your Sunday show that is gaining ground. You had an amazing show on Sunday with Retri from Game Pass _Daily. Dave, you are inching close.
We are
to 1K. Tell the folks, the fine folks, we got almost 500 people here. I think, folks, if you love me, and I think that you do, that you trust me, you get over and when Dave drops the link, for the love of gaming, go subscribe to his channel. It's honest, it's fun, and he's interviewing pretty much everyone. Let's get him to 1K. I mean, that's what it's all about, is lifting up others. Help me, help him get to 1,000 subscribers on YouTube. Sell your brand, brother.
Thanks, Boom. I appreciate that. I just dropped it in the chat. We are at right now, after last night's show, we are at 810 subscribers. So we are getting there.
Come on, folks.
Climbing the ladder, as it were. And man, yeah, it's a great episode today with Pixelbit G. Free to watch. Go check it out. Plus, there's over 60 more interviews. Everybody on this panel here has been interviewed, as well as Randall Thor 19, Dealer from Dealer Gaming.
I've never heard of that guy,
Johnny.
Dealer. Never heard of him.
Yeah, who is he? Yeah. Dealer Gaming, Doom Cutie, Risk It for the Biscuit. There's so many, literally tons of people that I've interviewed, and lots more. All the Iron Lords except for one, and that is going to be rectified tonight, because I'm interviewing him tonight for next Monday's show, which will be Lord Addict will be interviewed, and that'll go up next Monday. And Boom, thank you so much for having me on. And things happen, man. Little quirks in here and there. It still actually was a great show, and people loved it. So, and thanks again for all you do, Boom.
Brother, thank you so much for that. Fuzzy Belvedere, sell your brand, brother. Talk about the best place for anything and everything in the racing genre. Where could people help you get to 1,000 subscribers, as well as reach out to you on social media?
I just want to start off by saying thank you so much for having me on today. It was awesome having Crispy join us this morning as well. It's always great being on here with you, Crazy Lou, Web Dave, and Boom. But really, thank you everyone that watched us live and those who will catch us on replay. It's always awesome to interact with you guys. For those that want to hear my rambles or rants on anything gaming or any clips or picks or anything like that that's gaming related, just follow me on Twitter at fuzzy_Belvedere. And then for all of you here, look forward to hopefully seeing you on Friday morning, 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, right here on this channel for Breakfast with Boom. Look forward to seeing you guys there.
Thank you, brother. And again, as you could see, I only said hello to a few people. Normally, it's my thing. I like to welcome everybody. It's just because today was such a cluster F of a day, I just couldn't do it. So I just did a general message. Thank you to everyone. But Crispy, by all means, brother, sell your brand. You, my friend, are making a move. You want to talk about it? Let's say where people could find you potentially on Friday mornings.
Yes. So, life hits you in the chin and you deal with it. I mean, Boom knows, like I'll be there when I'm needed.
Yes.
But I also want my voice to be heard a little more. I mean, and it's cool. I mean, there's so many good voices on Primetime Gaming that I got to kind of, step it back. And my girlfriend is, she works hard and she doesn't want to come home to me, like
on
all
a
these
3-hour
days.
show. Yeah.
Yeah. All these days a week on different shows. So I'm just going to let you know where you could find me. And that's on Retro Renegades sometimes.
Right.
Okay. Primetime Gaming. If I see just like this happen, if I'm in the chat and I see it, I might be there, on Wednesdays. We got Thursday night. I will be there. Definitely next podcast, 8 p.m. And then Breakfast of Boom, Friday, 10 a.m. I will be there as well. And we'll see you then.
Yeah, appreciate you being a part of it. And like I said, the family thing is people seem to forget that we're not robots, right? Our families, they matter. They come first. And Crispy being on Wednesday, which is such a packed panel, he was unfortunately it kind of worked out a little bit that he wants to move to Friday mornings because his voice is definitely going to be heard there because we have a great panel, but it's not a big panel. And you know what? Listen, family first, and we love working with Crispy. I consider him a brother, and he's going to bring, because remember that's where he was originally. Then we went to Prime Time. Then now he's going back. So we're happy to have him on Friday mornings because that's the end of the week.
Coming home.
What a better way to end the week with some truth from Crispy Bomb. I mean he's hashtag.
And I just want to say, I mean, Boom. A lot of people don't know this, but Boom is one of the most amazing people. Like I've basically flip-flopped. Like some people I've called out. Stuff happens, you know what I mean? And I just appreciate you, man. You're just an awesome person, and I appreciate you for allowing my voice to be heard, because at the end of the day, without a lot of you guys, a lot of you guys that do these podcasts, these interviews, whatever it may be, I wouldn't have a voice, and I really appreciate it.
Well, listen, we love having you part of the show, brother. I love you in real life, and again, it's great having you back on Friday mornings. Shout out to Cram1 in the chat. He's asking if we are American streamers. Indeed, we are. No one from the UK. Occasionally, we do. We have plenty of friends from the UK that come out and hang on the show. So if you find the channel for the first time, man, consider subscribing, because I do this 5 days a week, 5 different shows, lots of different content creators, some of which are from the UK, as a matter of fact. But Crazy Lou Gaming, sell your brand, brother. You guys hit 1K this year. Now it's time to move on to the 3K, 5K, 10K. Talk about the Xbox International Podcast, brother. Sell your brand.
Oh man, you can find me at Twitter at Crazy Louie Gaming, where I do my good morning videos and do all sorts of crazy stuff. On Tuesday, guys, what I'm doing is I just log on and I play a very scary game so you guys can look at me, watch me get scared, which is true. It's called Playing with Crazy. Next game I want to play is You Must, because I was playing Demonologist before, but it's not a campaign game. It's a multiplayer game, and hell yeah, I got scared for a bunch of times, but I'd rather play a story-driven game, so I'm going to play You Must. That's the next game I'm going to play on Playing with Tuesday. Playing with Crazy. And last but not least, Wednesday's Xbox International Podcast at 7 p.m. ET with Silent Cypher, Sour Blow, and the Big Boom talking about what's going on in the gaming news world.
Well, brother, thank you so much for being here. And definitely check out the Xbox International Podcast. Crazy good people over there, including Crazy Lou Gaming. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much for tuning in. This was a great show, even with the technical issues. I thought we had a great conversation. Shout out for Web Dave and Fuzzy Belvedere for locking it down. And of course, shout out to all the super chats that came in. Those help out more than you know. Obviously, I've been doing a lot of work with the merch. I'm literally going to get off this podcast and upload some new merch designs that we have. And I think you're gonna dig them. We got a Breakfast at Boom was done in like an 8-bit pixel one, which was amazing. And we also have the original Breakfast at Boom design re-upped, if you will, for current generation. So definitely check that out. And listen, that was done by the Richter, who's an amazing artist. And obviously Sean Labrie did some things for me for X Vlog Live. I think you guys are really going to dig that. And we have a bunch of other things coming by the end of the year. But again, super chats and channel memberships help more than you know. They do keep when we need new equipment, new lighting, new programs, we're able to do it that way. And of course, we're able to do the big giveaways. And of course, I'm going to close out the show, folks, with something that's important to me. Hopefully one day it'll be important to you. And that's something that my dad taught me with kids. And he would say, Craig, treat others how you want to be treated. And it doesn't cost anything to be nice. You live by those rules, son. I can guarantee you're going to have an awesome day. So take care, everyone. And we'll see you next week on the newest episode of the Xbox Lunch Break Special.